Okay, so King Tie next here, back with another video. It's like 2:15 in the morning, so I can't be real quiet. Don't ever ask me why I decided to do my video so late. But anyways, um, subscribe to Young John. I'll leave his, I'll leave the link to his channel in the description, cause it was very difficult to even find this channel. Actually, you can't even find this channel on the YouTube search engine because he's not he isn't like at 90 or so subscribers yet. Also, another thing, if he doesn't subscribe to me by the end of the week, um, y'all have free range to do whatever you want. Look, you guys can unsubscribe to him if you want, because how are you going to ask me to give you a shout out yet you not subscribed to me? But I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart. Also, if you ever ask me to give a shout out again and you weren't at least subscribe to me, I'm going to call you out. Also, another thing, like for his videos, I checked them out. Like the things that he just needs to really work on is try and make consistent videos. When I say that, I mean have a certain topic that more people would actually care about. And besides that, I mean, like, come on, let's face it. Some of these, like, I think we can all agree that gaming is kind of dead. And, like, you gotta be a real good YouTuber if you're gonna plan on doing gaming. If you plan on becoming a gaming channel. But this guy, he does have some interesting what ifs, so I'm not saying that all of them are bad. It's just that he needs to focus on ones that get him the most views, and then start to really dip into the pot more. Try and experiment more afterwards. Try and get a good foundation down first. You know what I'm saying? You guys can leave tips for him in the comments below. But besides that, let's get into the video. Oh yeah, I also got my boy Margins. My boy Margins Oob hooked me up with 2 thumbnails I'll be using for future videos. But now let's get back into the what if. Anyway, so when I last left off the video, All Might was considering Izuku, trying to train Izuku, trying to monitor his progress, because this boy was able to turn into a dragon, and his regular form, he's like over 6 feet tall and he's 14 years old. On top of that, he has like some Arnold Schwarzenegger body type, and he says he doesn't use any juice. If you don't know what I mean by juice, I feel sorry for you. Steroids. That's what I mean by juice. If you don't know what steroids are, leave this video. Alright. So yeah. All Might decided to talk to Izuku about his quirk a bit more. And when All Might is talking to him, he realizes something. So, number one, this kid is just naturally built. Number two, this kid can turn into a dragon. This was his first time turning into a dragon. Number three, he does not need he he is never gonna give this kid one for all. This kid is already too much of a beast by himself. He'll probably give it to that Mirio kid if he doesn't find uh, a more suitable vessel beforehand. All Might offers to train Izuku in his dragon form so that he will be able to actually control it, so that he won't just what you call it, just suddenly transform into that state at the most randomest and most inconvenient of times. I mean, who would want to turn into a dragon while at school, for example? Come on, no one wants that sort of stuff. Of course, though, Azuku is geeking out. Like this, despite the what do you call it again? Despite the solitude he had for most of his life due to just how strong he was, that didn't mean he wasn't still a fan of heroes. Maybe it may have died down a little compared to his original canon, but he was in the presence of All Might, and All Might was offering to train him. Who wouldn't be geeking out? It was basically like Drake saying, um, hey kid, hey random kid that I just met. Um, like I know that you probably know who I am, and I'm going to hook you up with a record deal, or I'm going to sign you to my record label, or I'm just going to mentor you, or something along those lines. You, if you said that you wouldn't be excited, you're lying, okay? All right. So yeah, I said that Izuku will geek out, and he accepts in a heartbeat. But suddenly, All Might starts coughing up a little blood. Of course, Izuku notices this isn't and is immediately concerned. All Might tries to tell Izuku not to worry and to just look away for a quick second. But Izuku isn't gonna listen right here, because he knows that coughing up blood, of all things, that is something to worry about. I mean, no duh. If you were to do that at school, you would be sent home immediately. And here's a big shocker. All Might reveals his true form to Izuku on accident. All Might then goes on to explain his injury, how he gained this injury, and what ended up happening to him afterwards. How now he is on a time limit of 3 hours a day. Of course, Izuku feels bad for All Might and says that, you know what? I'm gonna definitely become number one hero. I'm gonna make sure that I will surpass you one day and carry on your legacy, carry on the mantle and all of that. All Might smiles hearing this from Izuku. He didn't actually judge him or anything. He didn't even truly wonder about why. Not why, but whether or not this was the true All Might. So, of course, All Might ends up giving Izuku one of his contact numbers
these two end up exchanging contact numbers so that they will be able to stay in touch. All Might texts Izuku while Izuku was on his way home to meet him at Dagobah Beach the next day. Izuku is confused at first and does a little research on that place. What he finds out is that, well, Dagobah Beach is basically this whole trash site that used to be a beautiful beach, but because of these ocean currents, trash started to fill up, and people started to use it as a dump site. Although it was illegal, nobody really seemed to do anything. All Might told Izuku that he wanted to clean up this area in the next 10 months, while at the same time he would be sparring with All Might. He will be sparring with All Might, trying to gain access to that dragon form and figure out just exactly what it can do, on top of how much control he had over it. Whether there was like a time limit, all of that stuff. I kind of don't like it. The next 10 months were pretty interesting in All Might's perspective, to say the least. He actually fought a dragon a couple of times. And if you think that All Might won or Izuku won, it's not so clear cut as that. Essentially, Izuku was kind of struggling to use this form. Basically, imagine this. Imagine you wake up one morning 6 inches taller than you used to be, and you try walking and all of that. You're not used to that form. You're not used to being so tall. This is essentially how it is for Izuku for the next 10 months, trying to use this dragon form. He's not used to having such a large body. He's not used to this body. He may have amplified strength and all, but he may have his strength amplified, but not necessarily his speed. His speed kind of stayed the same, if not kind of went down a little. And on top of that, it was very hard to maneuver himself. Sure, he could fly now, but what did that mean if he couldn't really... What did that really mean in the grand aspect of things? After all, sure, you may have more strength now, and sure, you may be able to fly, but he can't really move his body properly. As a matter of fact, he would end up bumping his head into so many things during these 10 months of training. Whenever he tried to spar against All Might, he would always have difficulty trying to reach the man, because his arms were now short compared to the rest of his body. Actually, extremely short. Once these 10 months of training were over, though, Izuku was actually able to touch All Might now. He was actually able to land hits on the hero. He actually had quite a punch. That's something that All Might really recognized. He admitted to that, saying that if he could really judge how strong Izuku was, he would say that he was probably like around 50% of his strength or something. And so Izuku has a bit of confidence now. Well, he already had confidence. He was just very lonely. Hanging around All Might actually fixed his loneliness a little bit. he was a bit happier nowadays. He was less depressed than he used to be. And on top of that, he now had somebody that he could really test his strength against. Hearing that he was around half the strength of All Might really, really made him proud of himself. He already knew that he was strong, but the way he saw it, he was just a big fish in a small pond. But no, he was really strong. Yeah, he was really strong, especially for his age. By the time the entrance exam rolls around, Izuku is confident that he will probably win, that he will probably get into UA. It's more a matter of what the test is going to be like. That is what Izuku is really wondering. Of course, Izuku also grew taller during this time as well. He reached 7 foot. No, 6'10". Yeah, yeah. By the end, Izuku had reached 6'10". When Izuku walks into the gates of UA, everybody's just looking at him because of just how massively tall this guy is and just how large he is, even when wearing like a regular school student uniform. You could actually tell that this guy was really strong. This guy had so much muscle underneath that school uniform that the school uniform is actually tight around his whole body. Pause. Okay, now unpause. Anyways, yeah. Azuku notices the people that are staring at him, just looking at him a certain way. Azuku is a bit self-conscious here, but he just shakes it off and trying to get his head back into the game. Until he trips on himself. This time, though, his horns actually get stuck into the pavement. A girl actually tries to save him, though. Yes, it's Uraraka. Uraraka tries to float him and tries to remove gravity from the guy, trying to make sure that he doesn't fall and hit himself on the face. But his horns ended up taking some of the damage, though. Izuku, when he notices how one of his horns is a bit chipped, a little tear comes down his face. My horn. My beautiful horn. But, of course, he thanks Uraraka. And he notices that the girl is kind of cute. But he realizes what he's thinking and immediately slaps himself. People could hear it, though. People could hear that impact, be like, oh snap, what is this guy doing? And Izuku realizes that he needs to stop thinking so much about other things, stop getting distracted, and focus on his future right now. Izuku walks through the gates of UA. He gets into one of the steeds. Of course, quite a few people are upset because of just how tall Izuku is, and he's kind of blocking their view. They call him out for that, but Izuku doesn't really know what to say. I mean, it's not his fault that he's so tall. I mean, on top of that, people kind of envy him for just how tall and manly looking he is. Oh, I forgot to mention that he has a bit of a mustache growing now. So, so of course, when President Mike is going over the whole physical part of the exam, we still have Ida talking about how he forgot the fourth robot, wondering if it was a misprint or something, and how Yui should be ashamed of themselves for such a screw up. Such a prestigious school like Yui should be ashamed for a misprint, if it really was. But President Mike explains that no, that's the 0 point robot. A robot that pretty much everybody should avoid because of just how strong it is. It's supposed to mimic those sort of desperate situations where heroes need to retreat because of just how powerful a villain may be. They may need to retreat sometimes. Heroes need to retreat sometimes in order to gather up more resources, recruit more heroes for the mission at hand. Ida, of course, thanks President Mike for the explanation, and then points over to Izuku, but a bit more warily this time, due to Izuku's figure. He explains that Izuku was a bit of a disturbance. He was kind of muttering, and he was also blocking the view of other students. Izuku in this timeline, he just sighs. And Izuku explains that, well, he's not going to take anything from Ida here. He explains that, number one, he was barely muttering. People can barely hear him when he mutters. And even if he was really muttering kind of loud, he doubted that it really was more of a disturbance than Ida literally pointing at him, yelling at the top of his lungs as well. On top of interrupting what do you call it? Their proctor. I think that's the name. Don't bother correcting me if I'm wrong. Just tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. But yeah, Izuku basically calls out Ida for trying to call him out, mentioning all of Ida's flaws here. Ida actually turns bright red here, as red as a tomato, and he just sits back down because he realizes that yeah, he is wrong here. He realizes that Izuku does have a point. So, of course, a couple kids actually laugh hearing this as well, which just makes Ida just bow his head in shame. Going onwards to the actual part that most people really care about, the physical part of the exam. Of course, as soon as President Mike says start, Izuku just rushes in, just races in, and he's just punching through robots with his bare hands. People are amazed by Izuku's performance immediately. Izuku not only, how should I say it?
who ribs robots with his bare hands, but he also seems to headbutt some of these robots, really putting his horns to use. And the proctors of the exam, they're amazed by Izuku's performance as well. As soon as President Micah said start, this guy was already destroying robots left and right. All of a sudden, they see him launching energy blasts from his mouth. The proctors are going crazy. Like, what is this kid made of? Is this like a clone of All Might or something? Is this like some sort of secret government project that they don't know about? Well, of course they wouldn't know about it because it's literally secret. Or is this like one? Or is this something like All Might's secret love child or something? Yes, I'm going there. Because this kid is insane. This kid is super tall, is already growing a mustache, has horns that he's using in order to literally help him rip through robots. He's ripping through robots with his bare fists. He's shooting energy blasts from his mouth as well. And he's not taking any damage. Even when the robots get the first hit on him, some of them are literally launching missiles at him. There's literally no scratch marks on Izuku. These people are seriously wondering, what is this kid made out of? This is also something that many of the examinees are wondering as well. Izuku just seems to be this major powerhouse throughout the whole exam. And, of course, the girls lose their minds when Izuku's shirt rips as well. In case I didn't mention this before, actually I know I didn't mention this before, but Izuku was wearing a similar tracksuit to canon, just far larger, of course, but it's not really durable, if you know what I'm saying. So it rips halfway through the entrance. The shirt rips halfway through the entrance exam, and Izuku realizes this is just gonna be a detriment to me if I continue to wear it. So he just has to take off his shirt. I'm giving the ladies some fan service. Some of the girls are really wishing that they had their phones on them right now because they want to take pictures of, not pictures, but actually record this guy doing what he's doing. This guy is a literal monster in this entrance exam. And then they realize, oh, wait a minute, this guy is taking up all their points. Izuku literally grabs one robot at one point and uses it as a club, using it to swing at other robots. The proctors of the exam are just losing their marbles at this point. Like, what is this kid? Who is he? Like, some of them really are scattering trying to find his information. When they find out that this kid, he just has some sort of generic seeming quirk. I'm talking about super strength. Yeah. Lies, they say. They were going to get to the bottom of this later on, but right now, people like Midnight, for example, they're licking their lips thinking that this kid is going to be a fine hero one day. There's no doubt about it. As soon as the 0 pointer comes in, the 0 pointer comes in early this time around though, because of just how destructive Izuku is in the whole entrance exam. They realize that this kid will probably need a distraction from the rest of the robots, because they realize that the kids in this exam area, not a lot of them are getting much points because Izuku is just dominating. He already has like over 100 points at this point. And this is when the teachers are really trying to see Izuku's capabilities. As soon as Izuku sees the 0 pointer, he was at first thinking of actually testing his strength against the robot, but he realizes that it's not worth it. He should actually go after some more robots that are actually worth something. The ones that actually do have points. But then his heightened senses kick off. He hears the voice, a very familiar voice, one that he just recently heard as well, call out for help. Zuko's heroic instincts kick off at that point. Zuko Izuku switches from the crowd, goes in the exact opposite direction of the crowd, and charges in at the 0 pointer. Some of these kids stop what they're doing and look at Izuku like he's crazy. They knew that he was strong, but they doubted that he would be able to do anything against the 0 pointer. This is when the teachers' eyes just pop out of their heads. Izuku transforms into his dragon state, because if he tried using an energy blast in his normal form, he realized that would extremely drain him. Actually, his voice would be sore. His throat would be sore right afterwards. Instead, he was going to use the dragon form. His speed may not be all that great in that form, and just maneuvering in that form is not as easy as his regular form. But he could fly. He could actually get some good height. He grabbed Uraraka incredibly quickly after removing the rubble from her leg and puts her onto his back. Of course, the girl is confused at first, but Izuku transforms into his dragon state. As soon as he does that, everybody's eyes just pop out of their heads, and their mouths just drop down to the ground. And they're all in just pure disbelief at what they're seeing right now. Izuku just transformed into a dragon. What can this kid not do? Izuku opens up his mouth and shoots an energy blast at the 0 pointer, completely annihilating the robot. Now, the teachers are like, okay, yeah, it's no doubt that this kid made it into UA. If somebody ever surpassed him in points, they probably cheated or something, because this was like a golden child of a golden crop. No, that doesn't make sense. This was more like Izuku was a diamond on top of the golden crop. He seemed to be more valuable than the rest in terms of strength and speed and power. I mean, he could turn into a dragon. He just turned into a dragon just now and literally annihilated the 0 pointer in one hit. There was absolutely no traces of the 0 pointer left after that, unless you count the ashes. Then the teachers look over the power loader, and this guy is This guy is just so angry. This kid just destroyed this beautiful robot. They were he was done. He just drew down his wrench and just left the room. Don't ask why he was there, by the way. I just said so. And of course, here we are. Azuku managed to end up gaining first place in the entrance exam. Azuku gets his letter from UA a week later talking about how he ended up getting over 100 villain points. Like, let's say he got 120 villain points, and then for saving Uraraka he got an extra 60 rescue points, which gave him a grand total of 180 points. And of course, Azuku celebrates in his room. His mother just looks at him like, I knew it. There was no doubt in my mind that my son wouldn't make it into UA. My kid is strong. She just uses it to flex all the time. Like, oh, my baby boy Izuku. Look at him. He can probably become a hero as soon as he leaves high school. As soon as he gets his hero license, it's a wrap for All Might. Izuku's gonna end this whole man's career. All Might is going to have to retire as soon as my baby becomes a hero. As soon as my baby boy gets his license. And of course, the person that she tells this to is Mitsuki. How would we pronounce her name? Yes, Bakugo Katsuki's mother. Because, I mean, these two are close friends. And some OCs, some original characters like Karen, Clarice, and for Yumi, because why not? It wouldn't be too far-fetched, I mean. Anyways, let's see. I want to end it here, but I'm just gonna add a little bit more for you guys. When another thing that ends up happening is when Izuku first enters UA. It's his first year of UA, and as soon as he sees the door, he's like, well, these guys really were thinking ahead. He's glad. He's really glad here because he had a bit of a habit of bumping his head on the door frame because of just how tall he was and forgot to duck his head. So seeing that he doesn't have to do it here because the door is actually much taller than he is and much wider as well. He's like, say less. These people are really thinking. These people are really looking out for the tall ones. Bakugo is doing what Bakugo does best. Angers people. And you guys probably know what I mean. The whole interaction with Ida stays the same on Bakugo's part until the both of them see Izuku. Ida tries to apologize, but Izuku just ignores him. Well, for the most part, anyways, just saying, dude, please, please do not bow, please don't bow to me. That's really weird. I feel very uncomfortable with you doing that. That's very unnecessary. Bakugo Bakugo looks over to Izuku and he's angry. He's angrier than usual because Izuku, this boy, managed to make it into UA. He was supposed to be the only one from from that from that backwards school, from that backwards middle school of theirs, to make it into their prestigious high school. But Izuku just had to ruin it. Izuku feels a tap on his back. He looks over to see that it was a girl from the entrance exam. She thanks Izuku for saving her, and she said that she recognized that large body of his. After all, it really stood out from the rest. Um, then we have that same interaction with Aizawa. I'm not gonna really mention too much here, besides the fact that hmm, Aizawa tells Izuku to throw the ball instead of Bakugo in this timeline. Why? Because Izuku got first place on an entrance exam. Aizawa asks Izuku what was his test score back. What was his drawing range back in middle school? Izuku just says something along the lines of, I don't really know. I was never really allowed to participate because the teachers seemed to find that my quirk was always active. Aizawa nods and is like, okay, alright. I'll accept that explanation. So he activates his quirk, saying that he deactivated Zuko's quirk for now, and says that he can now officially find out what would be his regular strength, his regular throwing strength. Izuku hurls the ball, and when he hurls the ball, he uses his full strength. What ends up happening though is, well, so much wind pressure was released from that throw that it blows some of the students back. Even Aizawa is shook, okay? Because he seemingly deactivated Izuku's quake. But this kid still had so much raw strength that it was ridiculous. And now he's really starting to think, okay, maybe his quake might not be super strength. Or at least it might just not be only super strength. After all, he did see him shoot energy blasts from his mouth at the entrance exam and turn into a literal dragon. That definitely wasn't all to his quake. Aizawa looks at his Aizawa looks at his device, which shows the scores for each of the students, and he realizes that Izuku has a score of infinity. That's when Aizawa is like, okay, yeah, alright, I'm done. I'm done here. I'm not having this. And that's how I'm going to end part 2 So here's what I'm probably gonna do. I'll probably add music to some of my videos depending on the time. If it's at a time like this, yeah, you would definitely not get no music, okay? Alright. Remember, remember to do what I say. Remember to do what I say, people. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you ever want a shout out, you you better be subscribed to me from now on. And that's pretty much all I gotta say. King Ty next out.